Welcome back to Crimescape.
Great photo of William in his Spiderman suit that was taken on the deck.
Yes. It was really weird because he was doing Rah, Daddy Tiger.
Rah, rah. Rah, rah.
Today we delve into the perplexing case of William Tyrell, a lively 3-year-old known for his love of superheroes. William Tyrell was born into a world of complexity and struggle. His biological parents, Carly Tyrell and Brendan Collins, were young individuals grappling with their own personal battles, including addiction and other related issues. Despite their love for their children, their circumstances made it challenging for them to provide a stable environment for William and his older sister. William and his sister were placed in foster care, marking the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. Their foster parents were a stark contrast to their biological parents in terms of their socioeconomic status. They were a wealthy couple residing in an affluent neighborhood in Sydney, a world away from the struggles and instability that had characterized the children's early life. In this new environment, William and his sister found a level of stability and care that was intended to provide them with a better chance at life. In the tranquil village of Kendall, nestled within New South Wales national parks, William Tyrell, his sister, and their foster parents were visiting their grandmother's house. Coming from the bustling city of Sydney, they found solace in this serene setting. On the morning of September 12, 2014, the family woke to a day promising laughter and bonding. However, this seemingly ordinary day was about to take an extraordinary turn, forever altering their lives. On the morning of September 12, 2014, the sun rose to a day of play and laughter. William, full of energy and dressed in his favorite Spiderman costume, was engaged in a lively game with his foster mother. Their laughter echoed through the house as they chased each other around, playing a game of tigers. William's roars of pretend ferocity filled the air, a testament to his boundless imagination and joy. After about an hour of this energetic play, his foster mother, identified only as Esty, decided to take a break. She left William and his sister to continue their games, this time shifting to a round of hide-and-seek. With the children safely engrossed in their game, Esty moved to the deck, a place where she could unwind yet still keep an eye and ear on the children. The sounds of their play served as a comforting backdrop as she relaxed in the peaceful surroundings. Feeling the need for a warm cup of tea, Esty decided to step inside the house for a few minutes. The house was filled with the usual sounds of a morning. The distant laughter of children playing, the rustling of the leaves outside, the comforting hum of home. She returned to the deck, expecting to see the familiar sight of William and his sister immersed in their game. However, what greeted her was an unsettling silence. The once lively yard was now eerily quiet, the laughter and roars replaced by an uncomfortable stillness. A quick scan of the yard revealed that William was nowhere to be seen. His sudden absence sent a wave of panic through SD. She called out his name, her voice echoing in the silent yard, but there was no response. The realization hit her. William was gone. In the span of a few minutes, a normal day had turned into a parent's worst nightmare. Overwhelmed by a sense of urgency and dread, William's foster mother, SD, sprang into action. She quickly got into her mother's silver Mazda hatchback, her heart pounding as she started the car. She drove around the neighborhood, her eyes scanning every nook and corner, every street and alley, in the desperate hope of spotting the familiar Spiderman costume. As she navigated the quiet streets of Kendall, she called out for William, her voice echoing in the still morning air. She drove as far as she thought his little legs could have carried him, her eyes never ceasing in their search. Yet every street turned, every corner rounded, only added to her growing despair. The neighborhood, once a symbol of tranquility and safety, now seemed like an endless maze with William nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, William's foster father had returned to the house. He'd been out running errands and dealing with work calls in the next town over. The news of William's disappearance hit him like a ton of bricks. Without wasting a moment, he too joined the frantic search. He ran up and down the streets, his heart heavy with worry. He knocked on every door, his voice strained as he asked the same question over and over again. "Have you seen a little boy dressed like Spider-Man?" Yet each door he knocked on only brought more disappointment. The residents, although sympathetic and concerned, had no information to offer. No one had seen a little boy in a Spiderman costume. The community, once familiar and friendly, now seemed filled with strangers, none of whom could provide the answers they so desperately sought. The initial stages of the investigation were marked by a sense of hopeful urgency. The police, along with the local community, operated under the assumption that William, being a curious and energetic toddler, had simply wandered off into the nearby bushland. This theory was supported by the fact that the grandmother's house was situated in a quiet village, surrounded by national parks, providing ample space for a small child to lose his way. However, as the hours turned into days with no sign of William, the tone of the investigation began to shift. The possibility that was once unthinkable started to take root. William may have been abducted. This theory was bolstered by the fact that despite extensive media coverage and a massive search party involving police officers, state emergency services, and concerned locals, there were no witnesses, no evidence, and no traces of William anywhere. The investigation had hit a wall and the case was becoming increasingly complex and baffling. As the investigation deepened, the police cast a wide net, identifying over 700 persons of interest. This extensive list included individuals from various walks of life, each with their own connections, however tenuous to the case. One such person was a washing machine repairman who had been to the house a few days before the family visit. The repairman, named Bill Speeding, lived approximately 28 kilometers away from the house. Despite having a solid alibi for the time of William's disappearance, he became a focal point of the investigation. His home, office, and even his septic tank were searched in a thorough attempt to find any evidence linking him to the case. However, the exhaustive search yielded no results, and Bill Speeding was eventually cleared of any involvement in William's disappearance. His name was just one in a long list of individuals who were scrutinized and then ruled out, leaving the investigators back at square one. The mystery of William Tyrell's disappearance remained unsolved, a puzzle with missing pieces that continued to confound all those involved. 5 years post William's vanishing, a coronial inquest was conducted to review the accumulated evidence and deduce the probable event sequence. The investigation saw a significant shift with the resignation of lead detective Gary Jubileen over controversial methods, leading to a new team revisiting the Kendall grandmother's house, focusing on the last seen location, the deck and the garden beneath. The once joyful house now silently held potential clues to the mystery. As the new team delved into the case, a chilling theory emerged. They hypothesized that William had fallen from the deck and died. In a desperate attempt to cover up the accident, they suggested that his foster mother had used her mother's car to dispose of the body. This theory painted a starkly different picture of the events of that fateful day. However, it was just that, a theory. Despite the suspicions and allegations, there was no concrete evidence to support this claim. The foster parents, who had been living under the shadow of their son's disappearance, were not charged with anything related to William's disappearance. William Tyrell's case remains one of Australia's biggest mysteries, with no trace found despite extensive investigations. The ongoing search, filled with more theories than facts, continues to be a haunting reminder of his disappearance, embodying the relentless human spirit seeking answers to perplexing mysteries.